You can spend a lot of money on gear and still get this wrong. Most riders don't realize it until something fails. Fit, comfort, visibility, or just bad assumptions they've been carrying for years. The problem isn't that gear doesn't work, it's that a lot of what you believe about it isn't true anymore. So today we're laying out 15 things most riders only learn the hard way, and a couple of them might hit closer to home than you expect. Let's get started. Number 15. Price doesn't equal protection. Walk into any gear shop and watch what happens. Your eyes drift straight past the budget stuff and lock onto the premium helmets, the ones that look like they belong on a fighter jet. And without thinking, your brain goes, that one has to be safer. Feels logical, feels responsible. It's also misleading. Here's the truth most riders don't hear early enough. Once you pass a certain price point, you're not really buying more protection. You're buying refinement. Lighter shells, better airflow, reduced wind noise, plus that subtle flex of owning something high-end. All nice upgrades. None of them guarantee better crash performance. Because real protection comes down to two things: certification and fit. Standards like ECE, DOT, and Snell Memorial Foundation exist to make sure helmets actually protect your head. And a properly certified helmet that fits snug, no wobble, no hot spots, can perform just as well as something far more expensive. A lot of riders end up paying for confidence, not capability. So flip the priorities: rating first, fit second, everything else is optional. Because that premium badge, it doesn't decide what happens in a crash. And here's the part most people don't think about. Even the best helmet you can buy today is already starting to expire. If this already flipped how you think about expensive gear, hit that like button. Because this is exactly what pushes us to keep exposing the stuff marketing. Hopes you never question. You can spend serious money and still walk away thinking you've bought yourself long-term safety, and on day one, that might even feel true. But price only solves the problem in the moment. What it doesn't solve is what happens over time, quietly, without warning. And that's exactly where the next truth starts to catch riders off guard. Number 14, shelf life. Here's one that feels a little unfair. The longer you think about it, your gear starts aging the second you begin using it. Not in some dramatic, falling apart kind of way. It's subtle, quiet, almost sneaky. And that's exactly why most riders miss it. Take your helmet. From the outside, it can look flawless for years. Clean shell, no major damage. Still feels solid in your hands. But inside, the material doing the real work, the impact-absorbing liner, is slowly breaking down. It loses its ability to compress and recover the way it's supposed to. And the worst part? You can't see it happening. Organizations like the Snell Memorial Foundation, in guidelines tied to the Department of Transportation, generally point to replacing helmets after about 5 years of regular use. Not because companies are greedy, but because materials don't last forever. And it's not just helmets. Gloves stretch out, boots lose structure, jackets dry, weaken, and quietly lose their ability to handle abrasion. Add in sun, sweat, rain, and heat, and the process speeds up fast. The trap is emotional. If it still looks good, you want to believe it is good, but crashes don't care how your gear looks. So even if you accept that gear ages and loses its edge, there's another issue most riders overlook entirely, something that can fail you on the very first ride, even when everything is brand new. And that pushes us straight into the next step forward, where longevity stops mattering and something far more immediate takes over. Number 13, fit over features. Here's a trap almost every rider falls into at least once. They shop with their eyes, not their body. You see a jacket loaded with vents, pockets everywhere, waterproof liners, fancy branding stitched across the chest. On paper, it looks perfect, like it can survive the apocalypse. Then you actually ride in it and something feels off. Because none of those features matter if the gear doesn't fit you properly. Protection isn't about owning the gear, it's about the gear staying exactly where it needs to be when things go wrong. Take a jacket. The armor in the shoulders, elbows, and back is placed in very specific zones. But if the fit is loose, all that protection can shift the moment you hit the ground. Now you're landing inches away from where you should be protected. Gloves, same story. Too loose and they can twist or come off completely. And your hands are usually the first thing to meet the pavement. And helmets, this is critical. Certifications from groups like the Snell Memorial Foundation and the Department of Transportation assume a proper fit. If it moves around, you're not getting what those ratings promise. Too tight isn't better either. Restriction leads to distraction, and distraction gets dangerous fast. A perfect fit beats fancy features every single time. And once you realize that, the labels start raising even more questions. So I'll put this to you. Have you ever owned something that checked every box on paper, but just never felt right once you were on the bike? Let me know in the comments. Those small mismatches are where a lot of bigger problems start. Getting the fit right feels like solving the problem, finally something that actually works the way it should. But once riders get past that, they run straight into a different kind of confusion, one that isn't about feel at all, but about what they think they're actually protected by. And that's where the next layer starts to get a lot less clear. Number 12. Armor standards are confusing. Walk into a gear shop and actually read the tags for once. Not just glance, really look at them. You'll see letters, numbers, codes that look like they belong on a piece of lab equipment. CE this, level that. Random abbreviations stacked on top of each other. It looks official, it sounds important, and most riders do the exact same thing. They pretend they understand it and then move on. Here's the uncomfortable truth. A lot of people have no idea what those ratings actually mean, and it's not entirely their fault, because there are two completely different systems being shown at the same time, doing two completely different jobs. First, you've got abrasion resistance. That's where ratings like A, AA, and AAA come in, under standards from the European Committee for Standardization. This tells you how long the material can slide across pavement before it gives up. Then there's impact protection. That's your level 1 versus level 2 armor. How much force gets absorbed before it reaches your body? Here's where it gets messy. You can have a top tire outer shell and average armor inside it. Two separate systems. Most riders think it's one, and if you don't separate them, you're not choosing gear, you're guessing. And once those labels start to make sense, you'd expect better decisions to follow. But that's not really what happens, because even when riders understand the ratings, something else quietly overrides that logic. And that shift in behavior leads directly into the next reality, one the industry depends on more than it admits. Number 11, looks sell more than safety. Before a rider checks a single rating, before they compare materials, before they even try the gear on, something else already made the decision: how it looks. Because motorcycle gear isn't just protection, it's identity. You don't just see a jacket, you see a version of yourself. The aggressive sport rider, the laid-back cruiser guy, the rugged adventure traveler. Every style tells a story, and brands know exactly how powerful that is. So what do they push first? Not safety, image. Scroll through any feed and you'll see it. Perfect lighting, clean bikes, matching outfits. Nobody's posting abrasion tests or impact data. They're selling a feeling, and that feeling hits fast. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Good-looking gear often outsells safer gear. Not because riders are careless, but because style is instant and safety takes effort to understand. So people pick what feels right and justify it afterward. Now, to be fair, style isn't the enemy. If you like how your gear looks, you're far more likely to wear it every ride. And that does matter. But once looks become the main reason you buy something, protection quietly takes a back seat, and the road doesn't care how good you looked 5 minutes ago. Because the moment conditions change, reality shows up fast. So be straight with me on this one. Have you ever picked gear because it matched the bike or the image you had in your head? No lectures here. Just drop it in the comments, because that decision right there shapes more than most riders admit. And choosing gear based on appearance might seem harmless at first. It gets you to wear it after all. But that mindset creates a bigger blind spot, especially when it comes to trusting what gear promises it can actually do in the real world. And that's where the next direction exposes something riders usually only discover the hard way. Number 10, waterproof is a lie. You've seen the promise. Big, bold, impossible to miss. 100% waterproof. Sounds like a guarantee. Like once you zip up, the weather just stops mattering. Yeah, until it doesn't. Because there's a big difference between surviving a drizzle and getting hammered at highway speed in a real storm. Out there, rain doesn't fall, it hits. Constant pressure, non-stop impact. And water doesn't need a big opening. It just needs one weak point. Seams start to seep. Zippers give up. Water finds its way through your cuffs, down your collar, straight into places you didn't think twice about before leaving. It's subtle at first. Then it spreads. Even premium materials like Gore-Tex have limits. They're engineered well, but they're not invincible. Time, pressure, and real-world use eventually win. And that's when it clicks. You trusted the label, spent the money, and still ended up soaked. Experienced riders handle it differently. Built-in waterproofing is convenience. A simple rain shell over your gear, that's reliability. So when water finds its way in. Despite all those claims, riders start questioning what gear really protects them from. But solving for rain only reveals the opposite problem. And in many cases, it's even harder to deal with, which is exactly why the next answer doesn't come from staying dry, but from surviving the heat. Number 9, hot weather gear is still too hot. Every rider believes this at some point. Just get mesh and you'll stay cool. And yeah, at first it feels legit. You roll out, pick up speed, air starts moving through the jacket. It's light, breathable, almost refreshing. Then summer shows up for real, because airflow only cools you when the air is cooler than your body. Once that temperature climbs past you, everything flips. That breeze you were enjoying stops feeling like relief and starts feeling like a hairdryer pointed straight at your chest. Now you're not cooling, you're cooking. Hot air blasts through the mesh, dries out your sweat before it can do its job, and suddenly your body is working overtime just to keep up. Heart rate creeps up, energy drops. You're getting tired way faster than you should. That's the part nobody warns you about. You're geared up for summer, moving at speed, and somehow feeling worse than if you had less airflow. So riders double down, more vents, bigger mesh panels, anything to chase that cooling feeling. But in extreme heat, more airflow just speeds up dehydration. Experienced riders play it differently. They focus on hydration, moisture, timing their rides, managing heat instead of trying to beat it, because once it gets that hot, gear isn't saving you anymore. And once you realize even purpose-built summer gear has its limits, the idea of perfect gear starts to fall apart completely. And when that happens, riders stop chasing perfection and start asking a different question altogether, one that leads directly into the next chapter of this conversation. Number 8, cheap gear can still be good. There's this unspoken fear a lot of riders carry, especially early on. If it's not expensive, it must not be safe. So they stretch the budget, go all in, and assume price equals protection. Then reality sets in, because cheap gear isn't the issue, bad gear is. And those two get mixed up all the time. There's plenty of budget-friendly equipment out there that still meets real safety standards. If it carries certifications like United States Department of Transportation or European CE testing, it's been built to handle impacts. That's the part that actually matters. Now sure, it won't feel as refined. It might be heavier, louder, less comfortable, but protection, it can still do the job. Where riders go wrong is trying to buy perfect gear right away, before they even know how they ride. A smarter move, start solid, ride more, then upgrade with purpose. Finding out you don't have to overspend feels like a win, but it also exposes something deeper. Because whether gear is expensive or affordable, it still runs into the same limitation when conditions change. And that shared limitation is exactly what brings us to the next step ahead. Number 7, one set of gear can't do everything. Every rider goes looking for it at some point. The perfect setup. One jacket, one pair of gloves, one helmet that handles heat, cold, rain, short rides, long trips, everything. Sounds smart, efficient, almost too good to question. And yeah, it is, because that setup doesn't exist. Gear is all about trade-offs. The stuff that keeps you cool in the summer, mesh, airflow, breathability, turns into a liability when it's cold. Wind cuts right through it, drains your body heat, and suddenly you're shivering 20 minutes into the ride. Flip it the other way, and winter gear becomes a sweatbox. The second temperatures rise. Same deal with waterproof layers, great in rain, miserable once the sun comes back out. So brands sell all-season solutions, and they're fine, just not perfect anywhere. That's the catch. Experienced riders stop chasing one setup and start building options instead. Accepting that no single setup can handle every condition forces riders to think more carefully about what they choose to wear. But even with the right setup for the situation, one critical detail still decides whether that gear actually does its job or fails instantly. And that brings us to the next focus point, where precision matters more than anything else. Number 6, helmets must fit perfectly. You can spend big money on a premium helmet, carbon shell, top-tier brand, all the right certifications, but if it doesn't fit your head properly, you've already undercut your safety before the ride even begins. Because here's the reality, A helmet that moves fails. In a crash, timing is everything. The moment your head hits the ground, that helmet has to absorb energy instantly. But if there's even a small gap, your head shifts first, then slams into the liner a split second later. That's not protection, that's a second hit, and you felt it. That slight lag when you turn your head, that tiny wobble at highway speed. Harmless? Not when it counts. Now go too tight and you create a different problem. Pressure builds. Discomfort turns into distraction, and distraction on a motorcycle is never small. The right fit is simple, snug, stable, no independent movement. It should feel secure, almost tight, but never painful. Dialing in helmet fit feels like locking down the most important piece, and in many ways, it is. But crashes don't happen in isolation, and protection doesn't start and end with your head. The moment things go wrong, another instinct takes over, and that instinct points us directly to the next reality riders tend to overlook. Number 5, gloves are more important than most think. There's a moment in every crash you don't plan for, but your body already has. You go down and your hands shoot out. Not skill, not training, pure instinct. And just like that, your hands become the first thing to meet the road. Not your helmet, not your jacket, your hands. Now picture that at speed. Pavement isn't just hard, it's unforgiving. The second your palms hit, they don't just take the impact, they drag. And if your gloves aren't built for it, they don't last. Cheap materials tear apart almost instantly. Stitching gives up, fabric disappears, and suddenly it's skin against asphalt. And hands, they're different. You don't get to sideline them while they heal. Every single day depends on them, gripping, eating, working, living. So why do riders cheap out here? Because gloves don't feel dramatic, easy to skip, easy to downgrade. And once you recognize how instinctive protection really is, it changes how you think about impact. But not every risk shows up in a crash. Some of the most dangerous ones build slowly during the ride itself, long before anything goes wrong. And that's where the next direction shifts from impact to influence. Number 4, comfort improves safety. Most riders think safety starts the moment something goes wrong. It doesn't. It starts way earlier with how you feel on the bike. Because discomfort is quiet, it doesn't hit you all at once. It creeps in, a tight jacket pulling at your shoulders, gloves pressing just enough to annoy you, heat building inside your gear under the sun. At first you ignore it, then it sticks. Half an hour in, you're shifting around. An hour later, it's all you can think about. And now you're not fully focused on the road. That's where mistakes begin. Because when your brain is busy dealing with irritation, everything else gets a little worse. Your reactions slow, your awareness narrows. Small decisions get sloppy, and small mistakes stack fast on a motorcycle. Here's the part riders get wrong. They chase looks over feel. But gear that fights you works against you. Staying comfortable keeps you focused, alert, and in control. But that only covers what's happening inside your helmet. Out on the road, there's another variable you don't fully control, and it has nothing to do with how you feel, which is exactly why the next step forward moves beyond the rider and into how the world sees you. Number 3, dark gear looks good, but reduces visibility. Walk into any gear shop and you'll see the same thing everywhere. Black helmets, black jackets, black everything. And yeah, it looks good, clean, aggressive, matches any bike. But here's the uncomfortable truth. All black doesn't make you look cool on the road. It makes you harder to see. And that's a problem, because drivers aren't out there actively searching for motorcycles. They're scanning for big familiar shapes, cars, trucks, movement that stands out. If you don't break that pattern, you get filtered out. Dark gear works against you. In traffic, in shadows, against asphalt, you blend in. You become part of the background. And when a driver glances your way, you're easier to miss. That's how people don't see you. Not always because they're careless, but because you never stood out in the first place. Brighter colors, reflective panels, they buy you time. Just a little more recognition, just enough to matter. And making yourself visible reduces the chances of being overlooked. But even that doesn't guarantee safety. Because beyond what others see, there's something much closer to home that undermines protection every single day. And that leads straight into the next truth, where the problem isn't the gear at all. Number 2, most riders wear gear incorrectly. Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. Most riders don't get hurt because they lack gear. They get hurt because they don't use it correctly. And the strange part? It usually gets worse with experience. The longer someone rides, the more relaxed they become. And that comfort slowly turns into something far more dangerous: complacency. It starts small, a chin strap left a little loose because it's just a quick ride, a jacket not fully zipped because it feels like overkill, gloves not tightened properly at the wrist, boots left slightly undone. None of it feels serious in the moment. But in a crash, there's no such thing as small. A loose helmet can shift or even come off entirely on impact. An open jacket can peel apart instantly, exposing skin to direct abrasion. Gloves that aren't secured can get pulled right off your hands during a slide. And armor, no matter how advanced, only works if it stays exactly where it's designed to be. If it shifts, it stops protecting you. Good gear worn wrong behaves like bad gear. So why does this happen? Because riders start cutting corners without realizing it. The just a quick ride mindset kicks in. You skip the full check. You assume nothing will happen this time. And slowly, discipline gets replaced by habit. But crashes don't care about distance or intention. They don't wait for long trips or bad roads. They show up during the rides where you feel the safest. The problem is, everything still looks fine right up until the moment it isn't. And that's what makes this so dangerous. You only find out after it fails. And if you want early access to what we're putting out next, there's a membership option there for you. Now, this last point is the one most riders don't want to hear. Realizing how often gear is used incorrectly forces a hard look at responsibility. But even when everything is worn properly, chosen carefully, and used exactly as intended, there's still a limit. No piece of equipment can cross. And that final boundary is where the next answer becomes unavoidable. Number 1. Gear cannot replace skill. This is the hardest truth for riders to accept because it removes the illusion of control. Gear does not prevent crashes. It never has. It never will. What it does is reduce damage after everything has already gone wrong. And that's where most riders get it twisted. They quietly start treating gear like prevention, not protection. But no helmet stops a bad decision. No jacket fixes a missed hazard. No gloves create space between you and a car that didn't see you. Skill does that. Skill is what keeps you out of trouble in the first place. It's awareness, timing, reading traffic before it turns into danger, knowing when to ease off, when to wait, when to assume someone else is about to make a mistake. Think about real riding situations. A car rolls toward an intersection. Do you trust it or prepare for it not to stop? A corner tightens up ahead. Do you commit or adjust because you can't see the exit? Traffic shifts suddenly. Do you react instantly or a fraction too late? Those split-second decisions decide everything. Gear only enters the story when those decisions fail. So why do riders lean on it so heavily? Because it feels like control. Buying better gear is tangible, immediate. It feels like you've done something about risk. And yes, protection matters, but protection is not prevention. Confusing the two creates a dangerous mindset, one that quietly encourages riders to push a little more, assume a little more, relax a little too early. But at speed, confidence without awareness doesn't make you safer. It makes you late. And in riding, late is often the difference between a close call and a crash. If this video made you question what you trust on your bike, the next one is going to push that even further into the habits and mistakes riders don't even realize they're making. Click the next video and keep the road going. Subscribe if you ride, become a member if you take it seriously, and don't leave without hitting like.